Welcome to this edition of Tips and Tricks.
Hey guys, and welcome to Fishing Midwest Quick Tips.
Hello and welcome to this CCB video blog. This is another Throwback Thursday. Now I've been doing these for a while and people are starting to really like them. They said they like the throwback stuff, me getting in my archive, me finding stuff. Now I started out, with my doing the old tips and tricks and the biology bite, stuff that's just buried way back in my YouTube channel. This time I figured I'd go back into my channel and I'd go back into Jon B's channel. They might wonder, why would I pick Jon B? Well, actually Jon B, at the time he was JoJo Bars 23 and I was Cowabunga 66. But anyway, I started in 2006 with my channel. I was just uploading shows that I had on cable access because I was in San Francisco. Didn't really have time to go filming shows and all that. So in 2009, when I came back here and started doing strictly fishing shows, it's pretty much the same exact time JoJo Bars 23 did, Jon B. And he used to be kind of my rival. Me and him would go back and forth in comments. I used to watch all his stuff that he uploaded back then. He used to watch mine. So yeah, we were kind of, he was my main competition at the time. So that's kind of the history of why I picked Jon B, because actually, my first tips and tricks was uploaded June 10th, 2009. And his was uploaded December 28th, 2009. The time I started Central Coast Bass on, and he started Fishing the Midwest on, we both pretty much started in 2009. And so I figured, that'd be a good person to kind of compare. I mean, we all know where he went, and we all know where I'm trying to go. But I just thought this would be neat to kind of show you guys, like, where I was when I started and where he was when he started. Of course, he was in high school at the time, and I was, 40? Pretty much young versus old. But right away, he started doing tips and tricks. When I first got back, I did mostly tips and tricks, so I thought it'd be fun for you guys to watch this. A comparison between me and him at the time. I think my video to this point has 20,000 views, and the video I'll be showing his first tips and tricks, or he called them quick tips, has 32,000 to this day. So we're pretty comparable. Anyway, they're both about the same time. He didn't really take off until 2016, but so yeah, here we go. My first tips and tricks versus Jon B's first tips and tricks.
Hi, I'm Scott Kawa, host of Central Coast Bass, and welcome to this edition of Tips and Tricks. The tip I'm going to be telling you is flipping fast slowly. Now, the fast part's quite obvious because when you're flipping, you're moving real quick from little spot to spot. But the slow part, that's the trick. Whenever I flip, I almost always use a little baby brush hog like this, or a crawdad imitation, or believe it or not, sometimes a Kalin's 5-inch grub. I always use a 4 or 5/0 Gamatsu hook. But the important part of this is the slow. I almost always use a little 16th ounce pegged weight. Now you might be wondering, 16 ounce for flipping, isn't that a little light? Well, what I realized was most of the prey that bass are feeding on when they're up active inside brush and lily pads and stuff, is the bait actually falls to the water very slowly. Like if a little crawdad crawls up to the top of a reed and then lets go, it floats real slow to the bottom. If there's newts in there, they float. If a worm falls in, they float to the bottom very slowly. So to me, it's the most natural presentation for what they're naturally going to be eating when they're up in weeds and brush and wood or under weeds. And one of the things is, when you're using such a light weight, if you get on top of a reed or a brush, something, the weight won't pull it down. It won't put it into the water, and trust me, trying to wiggle it off, it's easier just to pull it out and go back in. So accuracy is really important to make sure that you can get it in your spot and not catch any of the reeds or brush. But once it's in there and it starts falling real slow, trust me, if there's any bass around, it's going to grab it. I mean, if I'm flipping in water that's maybe 3 or 4 feet deep, it'll take my bait about 5, 6, 7 seconds to slowly fall down to the bottom. And then once it hits, I give it a couple jerks, bring it up maybe about a foot or so, and then I let it just slowly fall back down. Give this a try, because I used to use it in the lake where it was pretty much a circle, kind of like this, nothing but reeds. Flipping was pretty much the only pattern. And so if you were there and there were 2 or 3 other boats, you're pretty much all following each other around this little lake. And I used to be able to pull out 5 to 8 fish following 2 boats, and most of them I noticed flipped heavy jigs or plastics with half-ounce or heavy weights, so they could just get it in there and it would just punch through and go down. I talked to them and they'd catch a couple, and I was always able to get 5 or 8, and half the time I'd miss another 3 or 4. I mean, I use lighter line too, 17 pound, which, you know, sometimes you'll break them off, but I'd rather get a lot more hits and break a few off than no hits at all or only a few hits. So it's a good technique. Flipping fast slowly. Give it a try, and I bet you'll start getting a lot more bites and more fish when you're flipping. Until next time.
Okay, so there was my version of tips and tricks and how I went about putting it together and making it with the intro song and all that. And I like to do them on locations. That was my test pond. I always went down there by a pond or on the dock and something to do mine. And then, well, this is his first tips and tricks.
Hey guys, and welcome to Fishing Midwest Quick Tips. Today I'm going to discuss some really nice rod and reel combos. Right here I've got a Berkley Lightning Rod Shock Series. This is a really nice 6'6" rod, as you can see right here. It's got a nice grip. I love this grip right here, as you can see, and it's got a really nice color. It's got a golden silver color on here, really nice. It's got a amplified tip, strike tip, so you can get the feel for the tip. And this also, what I like about this rod is it's very stiff. As you can see right here, when I hit the tip, it barely moves. And I really like this in a rod for flipping jigs under trees. And I feel that a small rod is easier to flip rather than a longer rod having to get it downwards in a downwards position when you flip. The reel I've got on here is a Twitch and Bar Megaforce series. It's a Daiwa. It's got a 7-to-1 ratio, and it goes. It has 31 inches of line per turn. Really fast rod. Probably one of Daiwa's best reels that they've got out here. Probably the best one is the Plus 100 STH, which my grandfather has, but this is only the 100 ST Daiwa rod. But I really like this this Twitch and Bar on here. I've talked about this before, but this is a newer reel that I purchased, and a newer rod. Alright, the bait I've got on here, which I think is ideal for this rod and reel, is a little football head jig with a Berkley power bait 2.5-inch grub at the end of it. So that's pretty much it, and I just want to show you this really nice rod. Hope you guys enjoyed this quick tip from Fishing Midwest.
So there you go. That was mine and his. I'd been doing videos since 1986. I'd made skateboarding and snowboarding videos. I had a little more time in front of the camera than him, but I think I had something going with them for that time period compared to what a lot of them at the time were doing with their tips and tricks, just sitting in that room. Or now, I'm back to just sitting on my porch. But anyway, so yeah, that was it. My comparison to Jon B, his first, relatively about 6 months apart. They were uploaded originally, so there you go. Hope you enjoyed it.
That was terrific!
Great! Yeah! Best great! Fantastic! Yeah, it's really great! Really pisky, yeah.